Welcome to the Naples Money Managers News You Can Use. I'm Dawn Litchfield Brown, and this is
Marcus Bickles. Nice to see you all again.
Yep, he's been on a little more than I have. I want to excuse myself for not having my jacket today, but I've learned that if I wear black, I'm going to blend into the background. I look like a big hole with a head. So I have to get some different colored jackets. I don't know if yours is all right.
I mean, it might. We'll see.
Okay. Well, a couple things I want to talk about today is, well, I have some exciting things, but I am a little tired of all the political rhetoric. So I was wondering if everyone out there could send in an email or something to let us know what things they're most concerned about economically. Okay, we're going to stick with economics because I don't want to get into anything
the weeds, so to speak.
So economically, what are you most worried about? You know, is it Social Security? Is it interest rates?
Rising taxes?
Is it rising taxes? Is it inflation? Is it, I guess, threat of a war, or even the how you feel the war, or the what do you call it with the boat docks? The docker workers. The strike.
The big strike, absolutely.
Strike. We want to know what you're thinking about instead of us always telling you what we think. Although we might talk about the strike just a little bit.
Well, and you know, Dawn has a really good point. You know, we live in an age of unceasing amounts of information.
Too much.
And I need people, I was thinking about this morning. So I need people to understand how far we've come in such a very short period of time. So the first man-powered flight at Kitty Hawk, you know, everyone knows that. That was in 1906.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
We landed on the moon in 1965.
Right.
So there's 6 decades between us never having flown in our entire history of humans to us landing on the moon. Another great example, we went from steam power 150 years ago to quantum computing now. That's almost a single human lifetime.
Wait. Steam power meaning like an engine.
Yeah, a steam engine.
Quantum computing meaning a computer?
Not even a regular computer, a quantum computer, which
runs
is
a car?
Well, quantum computers are basically a very high level, before we get too into the weeds, but it's a very advanced version of a computer. So my point is being, within the span of a human lifetime, basically 150 years, we've experienced an immense amount of change, and you see it in your daily life.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know, I'm sure many of the people we're talking to remember a time when you could leave the house and people couldn't find you.
That's right.
You know, you didn't have a cell phone with you.
That's really nice.
Now you can reach anyone, anywhere, at all the time, and everybody knows that. We're all tracked. Privacy.
Unless I'm in Vermont.
Privacy doesn't exist unless you're in Vermont. Yeah, someplace without cell service. So it's very easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel like the world is ending or things are super duper scary.
Yeah.
The reality is that the world does tend to march on. That even these crazy inflection points, like a potential war in the Middle East, or a land war in Europe, like in Ukraine, or a presidential election in the United States, all of those things are big events, but at the same time, they're not
that big.
Exactly.
When you think about it, that's one of the things I have.
Oh, you do have that.
What you've already lived through, it's not exactly the same, but what 10 years from now might look like, in order for you to get your perspective in order, as people look at the world, as if everything's coming to an end, right? Because that's how we feel sometimes. But what was it like 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 100 years ago? What did we live through? Well,
absolutely.
If you're still 100. And now, what's it going to be like 10 years from now? What are we going to look back at and look what I lived through? I mean, we've lived through COVID, we've lived through wars, we've lived through economic crisis, we've lived through good presidents, bad presidents. You name it, we've lived through it.
Absolutely.
That's kind of my point. And what Marcus's point is, it happens so much quicker now than it did before.
And you can't get away from it. You're always aware of it. You always know a cruise missile just hit Israel, or there's a new problem in Ukraine, or there's a problem with the interest rates. 30 years ago, unless you were intimately tied to the news,
you wouldn't know about it for 6 months. At least.
And it ought to be over.
Well, that's what happened in 1987 with the stock market crash. By the time all the data got to everybody, it was 6 months old, and that's why the market crashed. That single biggest percentage day crash to date in history. 22% down in one day. That was a scary day. But anyway, what I'm just kind of going through is we want to know what you think.
Yeah.
So please shoot us an email. It could be dawn@naplesmoneymanagers.com, marcus@naplesmoneymanagers.com. Anybody here at naplesmoneymanagers.com, and give us your thoughts that are the most important things to you economically. Is it preserving your principal? Is it not taking risk? Is it interest rates? We want to know that from you.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot more time on that because we just chatted, but I also want to say I'm really super duper excited. Okay? We have, can you see that? Okay? Up? Okay. This is our new calendar. It's called Scammers Beware. And we are going to be sending this out to everybody, 2 of them. They're 2025 calendars. And on the calendar, which probably you won't be able to see really well, but there is a do, always and a never. Excuse me, a nevers and an always. And it's on every single page. So you keep this calendar close by. And if something odd happens, you can quick look at this and go, oh, yeah, never fall for that. Never allow that. Never call, so never. And then you say, oh, always hang up, always shut down, always beware. It's very, very simple. And we want people to keep it close by so that we can stop making money for these scammers to steal it.
And to that point, and Dawn is absolutely right, because a new thing in the world we live in, there's always been scams, but it's like a pandemic now of scammers.
It is, and they are good. Let me tell you, they're good, and I don't care how smart you think you are. You're not as smart as they are, unless you have something handy like this.
It's very true, and there's nothing wrong with having fallen for these things, because you got to understand, these are billion-dollar industries. In the same way that Microsoft is very good at separating us from our money for the products that they sell, because they have, they have people whose literal job is to do like market research and like customer psychology and like market trends. These large scamming organizations do the exact same thing, because it's billions of dollars. You think about the amount of money that they've taken from people you know. I guarantee you, everyone I'm talking to right now can think of at least one person who's lost probably a significant amount of money to a scammer.
And the thing, there's all this about gun control, and I get that, okay? But used to be if you rob somebody with a gun, you're going to go to jail if they catch you, right? If you rob somebody with a scam, most of the time, it's legal because you provided them with the information. There's no recourse. That's the frightening thing about all this. So we're going to be sending out these to all of our clients. Anybody who's out there listening by any chance who just wants a couple of them, we'll send them. But we're also doing presentations where everybody in the group will get 2 of these.
And we'll come to any group that you guys want us to.
We have a speaker. We have a nice short presentation to help you and your friends stay away from these guys or girls or whoever they are. But that was my big thing for the day.
No, and that is perfect. I kind of have something to piggyback off of that. Now, a trend that is really popular right now are these Chinese e-commerce apps that are all over.
Like Temu.
Temu, there you go.
And what's the other
Shein.
Shein.
AliExpress. I would avoid those. There's a bunch of reasons for it, and one of them being they are probably a gateway for scammers. We don't know what they're doing with your information. They are not regulated by American laws. In fact, they're being looked at by Congress because they circumvent certain American laws through apparently a fairly convenient loophole. They don't sell great products. I know it's very cheap. I've used it myself.
They're taking advantage of people who want something for less money, and that's the hook.
Yes.
It's quick and it's less money. They got you on the hook, but they're going to also get more.
Yep, they have your information. You'll probably get calls from people you don't know. So if you have used those, and I freely admit I've used AliExpress in the past, I would avoid it. All of the recent research has shown that they are not I hate to say they're not American, but that's kind of it.
one of my friends, she was doing it all on her debit card. And I looked at her bank statement the other day and I said, you spent $870 last month on Temu? She goes, no, I didn't. I said, well, yes, you did.
There you go.
Because they just went in and hacked her account and just looked like real charges when somebody uses it a lot, you can't really always remember what you order.
100%.
So it's tough.
And I had a recent problem myself, just to talk about that. I collect action figures.
Don't hold that again.
I can purchase them for a fairly reasonable rate from AliExpress, and a bunch of my orders never came in. I had to dispute them with my credit cards. Luckily, I got my money back. But again, they aren't constrained by normal laws that we think of a consumer or a company would be under in the United States. So just best to avoid. We don't know what they're doing with our
Right.
information. Just good to kind of keep clear of that.
And if you want to see his action figures, they're all in the office. Come on in. He'll love to talk to you about them.
Just a few of
Do you have
them.
any closing comments about the market, which is, looks like it's up?
No, we're down slightly today. The semiconductor's having a good day.
Still wrong, I think.
We've had it's pretty close to where, anyway.
Sorry.
The market's actually having a kind of a nothing day. We're seeing some real action in the semiconductors, which have been under a lot of pressure lately. The NVIDIAs, the AMDs, the Taiwan Semiconductors have all been under quite a bit of pressure. But now with the rate cut, and we're also going to get another one in November, December, and some comments from their CEO, Huang Jensen, who kind of reaffirms that there's a lot of demand still for this product, has kind of pulled that up, but there's not a whole lot going on in the market.
But our return right now for our covered call strategy, which is our income and growth strategy, is about 16%.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty happy with that. If it doesn't go up another percent for the rest of the year, we don't care. What we don't want to experience is a 40% down market. And we are preparing our portfolios to withstand something like that. In fact, we went over one transaction the other day, and we said, well, what if that drops? What stock was that?
That was NVIDIA.
NVIDIA, if it dropped 40%.
Which it has in the past.
If it dropped 40% from where it was that day, which was at 121, we would still have a positive return. Imagine that. So with that, unless you have something else you want to add.
Nope, that's exactly what we were talking about. It is an all-weather, well-tested portfolio, and we are insulated against anything that may come. We've made a really solid return. If we close that out, we're happy with it. And if the market does pull back because of all this crazy stuff going on, you are very well protected.
So we want you to like, subscribe, whatever those things mean, but do them. And then if you have somebody who would like to have us give a presentation, or you need a couple of these and you're not a client, you won't be getting them, but then you will be a client, of course. But get us some information and we'll get it right out to you. Remember, money matters, but most of all, and most importantly, to us, you matter most.
Have a great day.
Thanks.